Hello, my friends. Today I wanted to talk about energy work, specifically the basics of it, such as things like the energy bowl and grounding and centering, because these are very fundamental parts of magic that a lot of people still don't super understand, especially if they're not caught up on energy work or don't come up in energy work. Because energy work can be extremely useful and can be quite good for beginners. Actually, I would find it to be essential for beginners to learn because from energy work, you can branch out into so many other different forms of spellcraft, which allows the practitioner to pretty much have like their own arsenal when going into their own practice, when they're developing themselves, their own craft, and everything else. So I wanted to pretty much make an overview here on this virtual beach for some reason. The basics of energy work, which is going to be again grounding, centering, and the energy ball, and what you can do more so with those practices. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is pretty much going to be centering, because that is pretty much the basics for all of these other practices going forward. To center is to pretty much bring the energy into the center of your being, because when you're going throughout your daily life, energy is pretty much constantly leaving you. Also, I should really explain more so what I mean by energy. Energy in this case is spiritual energy. Everything has this energy, and entities can learn to control it through their will. By focusing and understanding how to call this energy to specific places, you can more so gather it to then be able to use it in your practice. This is the energy that we're going to be using in order to center into ourselves. In order to begin the centering process, you want to first more so calm yourself down. Try to breathe and to focus your mind. What you are going to want to do is to stand, sit, or lay there and focus, visualizing all of your energy going towards your solar plexus, which is the space around your navel, which is your belly button. Visualize all the energy sort of moving towards that. And visualization is very important with energy work practices. Though if you have aphantasia and are unable to visualize, saying what you are doing will allow that to happen as well. Pretty much all you want to do is stay for a while in that state, visualizing your energy moving towards your solar plexus. And when you actually have successfully centered, you're going to feel your energy like a ball right there in your body. From this practice, you can then move to grounding yourself, which usually means pushing that energy into the earth, connecting you to the earth. I usually like to do a hand motion more like this, where I can get above that energy and visualize me sort of pushing it downwards, down my legs and into the earth. And you will also feel that centered energy moving downward down your legs into the earth. And from there, you are centered and then grounded. Once you do that, you can pretty much continue on with your like rituals and other practices because grounding and centering is usually used at the very beginning of other practices in order to facilitate your energy and bring it all together, and then to ground yourself to the earth to bring up more energy and to also disperse negative energy that you may have kept in your body just from your basic life. So it's good to get in the habit of doing these before you do other forms of magic or spiritual activity or anything else that you know, do on the regular that you would want to ground and center. Also helps focus your mind and get you ready for magical practice, like mentally. After you go through the process of grounding and centering and have mastered more so that, and even if you go through that entire process and you don't like feel anything, that's still okay. With the visualization and other things, eventually, once you build up your sensitivity to feeling spiritual energy, you'll be able to connect more so into that feeling and be able to feel it more strongly. And you'll also just simply get stronger energy by actually doing energy work techniques. But after all of this, you can then try to use your energy to form an energy ball, because usually you're going to want to go through the process of centering and grounding so that you can build up more energy in your body to then form an energy ball, which is more so just moving the energy up your arms and in between your hands and forming it into a ball shape. This process is not visual in any way and is completely just the invisible pressure or force, or some people feel it as heat, moving in between your hands. When you're going to go through the process of doing the energy ball technique, you're going to go through that entire centering and grounding process again, dragging in all the energy into the center of you, feeling it gather in your navel. Okay. Then once you get it all in your navel, pushing it down to ground yourself. Once you feel the energy move up your feet, visualize again the place where you centered all that one energy and connected it to the earth, more so moving that energy up your arms and down your shoulders, into your hands, then more so bring your hands together and visualize a ball in between them. If you do this correctly, you're going to be able to feel a sort of force or heat or cold or some sort of presence in between your hands. And that is your energy. I find this technique is very useful not only for being a beginner tool to help people understand what spiritual energy is, but to also more so bring awareness of there is some form of spiritualness to the world that you are able to tap into and control. there are practical uses to making the energy ball, and more so than not, a lot of people don't talk about them, I have found. You can pretty much use the energy ball as a basic form of spellcraft by first making the energy ball and then visualizing your intention flowing into it, and then more so throwing or pushing this ball at or in the direction of what you want to affect. You can more so send out your intention in a weak way. It's a simple form of spellcraft that's actually quite effective and also quite active. So it affects things pretty quickly and is very easy to send out. That's pretty much for the basics of energy work in with grounding, centering, and then making an energy ball. That's pretty much the basics for going about making an energy ball. From there, really, you just can use it in that intention method, or you can learn different types of nuances from that practice, which is what develops into all the rest of energy work. Because from this energy ball and through the practice of giving that energy ball intention, and more so allowing that ball to then work out your will, you can do a bunch of different forms of magical things. That's the basics of energy work, pretty much. So, thank you for listening, guys. Goodbye.